This CTS's third brake light is not working. There can be 3 reasons why it's not working. First off, this is an LED and there is no light bulb to replace, which means that if the LED isn't working, this entire piece needs to be replaced. It's costly to do so and a bit of a pain to remove and replace. So before buying a replacement, you want to be 100% certain that it's faulty. And I'll show this in the video. The second reason is that the wires bringing power to the LED have become frayed or disconnected. And they usually can become frayed around here. The third reason is that it can be a burnt fuse. But let's take that off the list right now. In these CTSs, there isn't a specific fuse for the third brake light. So if this is your only problem, then a fuse isn't your problem. So to figure out if you need a whole new LED or simply fix a frayed wire, we need to remove this back carpeting. It's very easy to do so. There's a number of these little clips here. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 clips that need to be removed. There's this thing here that needs to be removed, and there's obviously this handle that needs to be removed, and these rubber things. Not that hard to do, and I'm going to start showing you how to do it right now. So here's one, for example, I've kind of already. I like using a tool trim kit. You could also use a screwdriver, and you got to remove these guys. I kind of already removed this quite a bit, and the idea here, as you could tell, they're a little bit like these, kind of by compression, okay? And it's like they're not the easiest to pull out. If you have a screwdriver, you have one of these sets, it's a little bit easier. So let's get into one to show you how to do it from the beginning. So here's one right here. I'm going to get that right in there, and just to give you a sense, you kind of really have to get in there and just kind of get right there and try to pull it out, and that's how it comes out. So you got to use a little bit of force, okay? All right, so you can see I did remove them all. They're kind of there, and now all you're really seeing what's holding these together. This guy, and this guy. These guys are quite easy to take out. These are just held together by compression. Just go in there with your hand and just kind of rip them apart, so you can sort of see right there. They're just held together. Pretty simple to do. Do the same one over here. Okay, next up we're going to need to remove this, okay? If you kind of come in through here, there's a couple of doors. There's one here. There's one there, okay? And what I want to do is you just need to get in there with a screwdriver, a little bit around the edges. Get a small one. You want to use a small one. And then you're going to see that is a 7mm around this edge. And there you go. That's how it should come out, okay? Now, as you can tell, when I did this one here, I kind of ripped it on. It's just sort of just hang there, but this will go right back into place. Okay, and there you go. All right, next up is this guy here. This is it. This is the only piece now holding it together. There's a little bit of a clip in there. So you're going to get your screwdriver. If you could come in right through here, you're going to get your screwdriver just in there. You're going to want to lift. And at the same time, pull it out. And that's it. That's it, just like that. It's a couple of clips. You're trying to just open it up there by that clip over there. You're just trying to get your screwdriver in there and widen it so you can then remove it. So now in this case now, it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to take this out. All right, so here we are. So what we're going to try to do now, I started to take things apart off camera, and ultimately what's going to happen right now, I'm going to take this connector off. And what we're going to try to do is press the brake pedal, and with a multimeter, I'm going to use the multimeter, and I'm going to connect it to 20 volts. When a brake pedal is pressed, obviously these lights are going to go on, and this is the connector that goes to the third brake light. And with the leads to it, when the brake pedal is pressed, we should see a voltage spike. And if we don't see a voltage spike, then the idea here is there's some kind of frayed wire, broken wire along here. All right, I want to give the hint away. All right, so hopefully you could see that. It's got a little tab right there, and you're not able to disconnect because the tab is interfering. So I like to go with a little screwdriver. It's probably a better way to kind of try to go in there a little bit, and then at the same time, try to disconnect it. So you're loosening it up, opening up the tab, and then pushing it out. Just like that. Okay, and then what we're going to do here, so we're going to not get, so this is the one that goes to the third brake light. This is the one that follows. And so we're going to put, doesn't matter which connection we do, there's a couple of tabs there. You're going to just touch one tab and the other tab, and you're going to have someone in the car Not the acceleration doesn't have to be on, just kind of has to be on. The key has to be turned into like the first position, and then we should see a voltage spike. If we see a voltage spike, that means the third brake light, the actual LEDs, there's a fault at that, and then we're going to need to go out and purchase one of those and replace it. So let's get someone in the car and let's test this out. Now what we're going to do is, okay, press the brake pedal. You see those lights go on. But if you look here, look at the voltage meter, multimeter, we're seeing 0. Okay, let go of the brake. Those lights go off. Try it again. Voltmeter, there's no voltage spike. Okay, so what this again was meaning is that we have a fault here in the wire. Now if we go on. It could be a blessing. Depends on. The blessing here is you don't need to replace your LED light at that point. That's a couple of $100. Be very happy. So now we're just going to take this back. We're going to put this back together. Okay. Now the idea here is to kind of trace the wire here. Tracing the wire goes along through here. You can see this thing would have been connected there. I've already kind of figured out what the problem is. There's going to be some electrical tape. You're going to use the same sort of, maybe your tool to piece these two guys out. And then you're going to see the bunch of wires here. Bunch of wires, because the wires aren't just going to the third brake light. They're also going to the license plate bulbs as well as the lock mechanism. And hopefully you can see it right away. You're going to pull this thing over and you're going to see the problem right over there. You see the blue wire? It is broken, and there's the other connected there. So through time of opening and closing this trunk, it did falter. There's another interesting one here too, is this wire here. I haven't touched it. Again, I said I've owned this car for 8 years. I haven't owned it for the first 4 years of its original ownership, but 8 years thereafter. And I've never touched that. So that could have been a fault. Maybe that was from the factory. Maybe that could have been a fix during the first 4 years. So with this one connected here, and so what we're going to try to do with the person still in the car, so you can sort of see there's a little bit of connection there. We're going to see if this really is the case. So we're going to try to piece those a little bit together, make a connection. All right, and maybe someone, okay, with the person in the car, can you press the brake? Okay, so you see those ones come on. Can you see now if you see the third brake light, is it on? It's on. So we know what the culprit here is. So I'm coming back over here to the blue. Now we're going to try to connect these together. Now the problem here is you don't have a lot of space here. So what I'm trying to do here is, I think what we're going to need to do is kind of get a wire to bridge these two together. Okay, kind of make connection there, make connection there. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here. What I'm going to do here is just going to try to, again, maybe make a bigger wire. So maybe it gives it a little bit more flexibility there. I'm going to put it like that. You're going to want to strip it. You could also use a knife to strip it, or you could also use, if you have one of these stripper tools. Okay. Okay, just like that. Now at the same token, we need to strip this. So you can sort of see what I'm trying to do here. I'm going to connect this to that and that to that. Maybe it's a bit too big. Maybe we'll make it a little bit smaller. Probably going to be pretty good. Now I'm going to need to strip this blue wire as well. What it is, it's actually an 18 gauge. You want to go on the smallest one you have, smallest one I have, at least of this one. So it's 18 gauge. A little bit tight. There's not a lot of space here. Okay. All right, and there you go. The wire we have here, and we're just going to try to kind of just wire it around, just like that. And then we're going to use some electrical tape. Okay, so we got that. Let's get some electrical tape. Again, it's got to be electrical tape. It comes in different colors, but make sure it's electrical tape. We're going to try to tape that together. It doesn't come apart. I mean, if it ever does come apart, you know what the problem is. What you should be using here, it's called a crimp tool and these crimp connectors, but you're going to need a crimp tool, and then you're going to need to buy those crimp connectors, and you're also going to need a heat gun. So I'm trying to avoid all that. Not everyone has all those tools readily there. I don't know if that was a good job I did there, but that should be good. And then with this last piece here, I'm going to connect it over here and do something very similar. Okay, on the bottom one, same sort of pattern. You're going to want to intertwine those as much as possible. Okay, and you're going to get the Try to be as tight as possible on this. And if it comes undone, you know what the problem here is. Okay, that buys us quite a bit. And then what we're going to do here is we're just going to give it a quick test as well, just to make sure everything here is working fine. I think this tape isn't as good. I'm not sure how long this thing is going to last. Let's make sure. Let's do a little bit better. The trick here is to make sure it's really tight along the edges so it doesn't come apart. And then we're going to try to squeeze this one back in. Get this cover back on it. But if you remember, this one actually had a, you don't remember, but mine had a bunch of tape around here. You're going to want to do a similar thing as well, similar electrical tape. I think the idea is just to keep these things connected and as close to this as possible. We're ready to put that back in just like that. Okay. Push them in. Push them in. Push them in. And before we put anything away, let's give it a quick try. Hope you found this video helpful. On the screen you see another one of my Cadillac videos. Please subscribe to follow many more handy valve videos on Cadillac. Thanks for watching and bye for now.